Hi guys, it is Tamara. Thank you so much for coming back to my channel. Welcome back. Today we're going to finish our conversation on stalkers. And this is going to be the second to the last video. This conversation can just go on for weeks and months and, really take up a lot of time. But I think my main goal in today's video is to point out the two I'm going to say most disruptive stalkers that there are. And I actually have counseled in the past these two particular stalkers. And so, one of the things I've noticed about these two is that they tend to come from a place of psychosis, a place of lack of boundaries, and a place of just really having no sense of self, no sense of reality. So you're going to learn who these two stalkers are in just a minute. Let's jump in. Thank you so much for coming back to my channel. For all of you who are subscribed and participating, thank you so much, as I always say. And for those who are new, I encourage you to hit that subscribe button so you can stick around with us and be a part of our growing and our validating community. And in case you don't know who I am, let me briefly introduce myself. My name is Tamara, and I'm an internationally and board certified trauma therapist, but I'm also licensed in mental health, and I currently specialize within my private practice in treating children, teens, and families, as well as adults. Let's jump in. So, I'm sure you're dying to know who those two groups of stalkers are that creates the most disruption for a lot of people's lives. And so I'm going to tell you right now. The first is the intimacy stalker, and the second is the predatory stalker. Now, these particular stalkers have something in common, and that is a lack of connection to reality. The intimacy stalker is the one who finds life really difficult to navigate when it comes to connection and relationships and emotions and, really trying to communicate in an appropriate way. It's hard for them to do that. So they struggle with that a lot. The only way that they can become emotionally, psychologically, and even physically intimate with someone is if they force it. And forcing it means stalking. Sometimes it also means sexual assault and rape, just because they don't conceptualize properly what a relationship consists of. These particular individuals, the intimacy stalkers, tend to be rather immature. They lack a large repertoire of language. They don't really know how to describe themselves. They don't really know who they are in connection with other people. And they may find relationships really intimidating. These kind of stalkers, sometimes slip into psychosis. And I talk about psychotic stalkers right up here in this video. I did this video a couple months ago, I should say. That was last year. A lot of people had questions for me in my email. I woke up the next day and I had at least 35 emails about this particular group of stalkers, the psychotic stalkers. And I think one of the most difficult things about these stalkers is, they can come across as normal, whatever that is, right? They can come across as sane. They can also come across as stable. The issue is boundaries and lack thereof. The issue is also, not really having the emotional maturity to relate to someone and say, I really like you. I've seen you from afar and I'd be interested to get to know you. Like, they don't know how to do that. So they either scare their victims because they're too aggressive, or they scare their victims still because they're passive and sneaky. And so either way you flip the coin with these people, these intimacy stalkers are really destabilizing, and they are unstable, for lack of a better clinical term. So I want to point out some things that they do, and then we're going to jump to the predatory stalker. Okay, so the intimacy stalker, I want you to keep in mind that this particular stalker, has a foundation that is shaky. Their foundation, as far as identity, as far as skill, really is shaky. And that's because they are lonely. They are lonely. They have a lack of identity. They're emotionally immature. They are psychologically confused, most of them. They lack confidence in themselves and in their abilities. These kind of individuals may have dropped out of school, or they may have been bullied or rejected, or they may have grown up in a home where, love and sexuality and all of that was never discussed, or it was discussed briefly and kind of oddly. Whatever the case, these individuals these individuals may not have grown up in the best home environment, okay? These individuals also slip into what we call delusional beliefs. Now, delusions are basically ideas and thoughts that are held so rigidly that they come across to other people as being non-bizarre, sometimes normal, they make sense. A non-bizarre delusion could be, I'm being stalked by my neighbor, and they're looking through my vents, and they come out on the porch every day when I go outside to get the mail and to take the dog for the walk. I look behind me and there they are. That's a non-bizarre delusion because there's a possibility it could be happening. But sometimes these individuals have bizarre delusions, right? And they may have bizarre delusions like, I'm an alien from outer space and I came here to be in a relationship with you. That's a bizarre delusion. These individuals can also be diagnosed with psychotic disorders such as schizophrenia. They may also have some kind of psychosis where they are really detaching from reality. They have a perceptual difficulty. They're not seeing life through the right lens. They're somewhere else. And these individuals can be hospitalized for severe mental illness. I think it's also important for me to note under these particular stalkers that they could also have personality disorders. A dependent personality disorder, which is what I talk about right up here in this video, or they could also have a borderline personality disorder and have a fear of abandonment and really desire that close emotional connection with someone. Or they could have a narcissistic personality disorder as well. These particular intimacy stalkers do not tend to be sociopaths, and that's because they do want to feel. They just don't know how to get it. And they want that close connection, which is something a sociopath does not want. Now, if we want to talk about a sociopath, let's talk about the predatory stalker. Now, this particular stalker is dangerous, okay? They have deviant behavior. Some of them are diagnosed with antisocial personality disorder. Here's a definition right over here for you. That's another way of saying a sociopath. But antisocial personality disorder is likely to be diagnosed in these individuals. Narcissistic personality disorder is likely to be diagnosed as well. They may also have anger management issues and really deep-seated resentment. They have a criminal mind set, right? So they're always doing something that's against the law, or they're sneakily doing something, or they're confiscating something, or stealing something, or, these individuals also may be voyeuristic in some ways, right? They may have a tendency to go after specific situations because it gives them a sexual charge. These individuals may also have a sexual fetish. They may also rape. They may also have been charged with sexual assault in the past. They may have a long criminal history. These predatory stalkers are nothing to play with. They tend to be substance abusers. They tend to be high school dropouts and individuals who were not raised in a very good home environment. So we're talking about all around sociopath. And these particular stalkers can turn into rapists and child molesters. And these are the individuals that you don't want to be caught with late at night, in the dark, by yourself. So when you think of these two stalkers, I want you to keep two things in mind. One is that they lack a connection with reality. They don't have the ability to plug into reality and see that their behavior is not acceptable. They operate as if it is a norm. Okay, they operate as if their stalking is going to be viewed as romantic or interesting, or somehow it's going to be something that the other person's going to turn around and say, I love you back. And what they don't understand is that, no, that's not how that goes. I don't know you. I'm not interested in you. And I never will be, right? Or perhaps you did know them at one time, but you want nothing to do with them now. Usually intimacy stalkers are those individuals who have been rejected. And, they're going to push the script as far as they can. Now, predatory stalkers may not know you at all. They may be complete strangers. Maybe they saw your photo. Maybe they saw, something on Facebook with you, or maybe they just saw you walking down the road and decided to follow you home and then stalk you after that. Like, we don't know the mindset 100% of a predatory stalker, but we do know that they prey on people. They are not normal individuals, and quite frankly, none of these stalkers are, but they all have a different they all have a different identity. They all have a different set of behaviors that you need to be aware of. So I'm really hoping that I shouldn't say this video, but the series of videos I've done on this topic is going to be helpful, or has been helpful to you. Now, next video, I want to talk a little bit about something that a professor came up with, and he proposed some new categories of stalkers. So that will be the final video on this topic. Thank you so much for being with me today, guys. In this video, I encourage you to give it a thumbs up and go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you want to stick around with us. I will see you in the next video, the final video on this topic. I'll see you then. Bye.